Welcome to episode 185, Broad Street Hustle. I'm your host, Tommy Nanny, bringing you a fun and exciting episode here on a Wednesday, day earlier than we normally do, but some obligations tomorrow, so we're forced to do it today. So let's kick it off. We got a fun show. We're going to cover same stuff, NFL. We'll recap kind of the Eagles' Monday night game against the Chargers. We'll preview the game against the Las Vegas Raiders and our picks. And in the beginning, we'll throw in a little Schwarber talk because the Phillies did make a signing for kind of to kick off the MLB free off season, I guess you call it. Let's go around the room. Got the normal folks with us as always. Jason Sayeda.
What's up, Tom?
Jason, how are you? And we got Jimmy the Chalk.
Fun and exciting are not two words I had ready for this week, but we'll do it.
Well, I think it just kind of depends on what probably you, Chalky, to be honest with you. Depends how much you want to defend your boy or not. This is probably where if the show gets fun and exciting. But we'll see when we get to it. We will see when we get to some Eagles talks. But tonight's episode, as always, is brought to you by Giovannina's Pizza. You tried the rest. Now try the best. And as always, Giovannina does have the Eagles special. When the Eagles win, you do get a buy one, get one free pie. Hasn't been a problem for Giovannina for a while now. She's kind of been racking in the dough lately as the Eagles continue to slide and not have to give away those free pies. But maybe this week. I would hope this week, but we shall see. All right, let's kick it off. So as I alluded to earlier, Phillies finally made a move. They signed Schwarber to 5 years of $150 million. I mean, we talked about it last week. I think Jason, Chalky both said they're going to have to go 5 years. It was pretty much the
152. I think we nailed the number.
Was it?
Yeah.
So
we both said $30 million a year, and Jason nailed it at 150.
So yeah, so not really surprising. I mean, it's just now it's done. Kind of also expect that towards the talent of the contract, you're probably going to give up a little bit of, you're going to be carrying a guy that's probably not, who knows, but it was a deal that had to be done. One we kind of expected. Right afterwards, Alonso signed. Was it today he signed or he's going to sign? So it was kind of the first shoe to drop when it comes to baseball offseason with the big names. And we'll probably see a lot more as we go. Not anything else besides that as we're recording on Wednesday. But Jason, quick thoughts around the Schwarber deal?
Yeah, I mean, they always say that the last year you kind of assume that you're not going to get the production, the value for the production you're going to get. So, that was the market for him. Like the Orioles, the way I heard it was the Orioles offered him 5 years, 150, and Schwarber's agent, Chase, forget his name, went to the Phillies and said, look, you give us 5 years, 150. We want to do the deal now. So that was it. I mean, he never wanted to go anywhere else. I mean, obviously.
Did I read the Mets made an offer where it was like 3 years for?
I don't know if the Mets made an offer. They were talking about the Pirates.
But it was like three. But the Mets were like 3 years, but 40 $40 million a year, but only for 3 years.
I didn't hear that.
I think that's what I read, which was $120 million. But,
yeah, and the Pirates did 4 years, $30 million, so 120 also for the Pirates. And then the Orioles came in with that. So obviously he didn't want to go anywhere. He wanted to stay here. He didn't want to play games. He could have played games. He could have said, they offered me 150. You guys offered me 160, and I'll stay. He didn't play any games like that. So he's here. Now I also heard that before Schwarber signed, the day before, Dombrowski made a comment where like, I think we're in a good spot with Schwarber, and he also said the same thing about Real Muto. So that's coming. I don't know how soon it's coming, but he's not going anywhere either. So the next thing that's going to happen is, I mean, obviously you spend all that money in those guys, you don't have money to spend on really any other free agent, but you could create room by making a trade. So I'm almost positive at this point that Bohm is gone. I think they're going to move him. I don't know what they're going to move him for. I don't know who's going to play third base, but I would assume if they trade Bohm, they're going to trade him for an outfielder maybe. And then, you know, whatever you have to do, whether it's like we mentioned before, does Kemp keep the third base warm for 2 months and then they call Miller up and Miller plays third base until maybe next offseason they trade Stott and then, I don't know what the plan's going to be, but I think Bohm's going to go because you have no outfield right now. Like you really have no outfield right now at all. Like what's your outfield? Crawford, where's he going to play? Who else? You have no outfield. Castellanos is gone. There's no chance he's coming back. So you need a whole outfield really right now. You need at least one and probably two guys in the outfield. And Bader's not coming back. He wants 3 years. He's looking for 3 years. Goodbye. He's not coming back. So you need an
Yeah.
outfield. So I
It's
think
probably Crawford is your only right?
he's
Is
your
that what
only guy that
yeah.
you could say is going to be in the outfield. You don't know if he's going to play left. You don't know if he's going to play center. You don't know where, you don't have any outfield spot locked down. You know Crawford will be somewhere if you don't get traded. It's outfield's just up in the air right now. And I think they'll add one more arm for the bullpen. So, I mean, those are the things that I'm hearing. So I think the next thing that'll happen is JT signs and then a trade's happening. I think it's going to be Bone.
Chalky?
Yeah, so I mean, the Schwarber thing pretty much played out how we guessed. Jason was right on the years and the money. I said, my sense was that the Phillies said, come back to us with your best offer, and then we'll figure something out at that point to not negotiate against themselves. And that's kind of what happened. I hadn't heard the Mets thing either. The only other team that I heard with a numbers and years was Cincinnati, who they were like at the bottom of everything, I think. So they were shorter and less per year, maybe. So they didn't end up, really in the conversation. But Baltimore was obviously looking to spend because they gave Alonso almost the same contract, a little more on the per year average. So they had money, and obviously they made a serious offer for Schwarber. But same stuff at JT. I mean, it seems like 15, 16 a year on maybe a 2-year deal is going to be what gets that done. So everybody seems to think he's staying. The interesting thing that I keep reading that we sort of talked about last week was they're still being very seriously linked to the Japanese pitcher, whose name escapes me and I won't try to botch him, to the fact that the Japanese press, the Phillies are the only team that's like getting mentioned as a potential there. So we talked about like, well, how would that make sense based on how things are setting up now? And if you want to try to start connecting the dots or how dominoes might fall, I'm still not buying that they're going to be getting him. But the other side of that is Arizona wants a young starter in any deal for Marte. So if you sign this Japanese, let's say if you really want to sign the Japanese pitcher, that could be a step to including maybe Luzardo in a Marte deal with Bohm and whoever else you got to do. So now he comes in to take Luzardo's spot in the rotation because Luzardo is the only pitcher that would meet that. They're not going to give up Painter. So Luzardo would be the only one, and he's only got 1 more year of control, but he's young and he's cheap right now. And you're not going to trade Sanchez. So that would be, I agree, like we said last week, doesn't make sense on the surface, but there's just a lot of smoke there. So it makes me think that there's something going on. But that would be, you would need the other chips to kind of get to fall in place. And I think, to me, you don't make that move for the Japanese pitcher unless you think you got somewhere to move Luzardo, and Marte seems like the one deal that the Phillies keep getting linked to him as a player, where it makes sense. Now there might be another outfielder out there, maybe like a Buxton or something like that they would use Luzardo for. I don't know, but those are the names they keep getting linked to, and they usually, when you see the Phillies continuously linked to players, there's usually something there.
My thing with that is I don't I don't think Luzardo is that um forgetting the word I want to say, attractive right now
Mm.
because he's not signed. So
Yeah.
like if you're Arizona and you trade Marte, who's under control for the next 4 years at a good price, and you get Luzardo for 1 year, and then somebody blows Luzardo out of the water, like he's gone. Like I don't think it's Luzardo. Like I think if they
Yeah.
sign this Japanese pitcher, they're doing it to create a 6-man rotation because Wheeler. Yeah, they say Wheeler's going to be back in May, but maybe they hold him out until the end.
They also don't have like, at this point, they don't have an established right-handed pitcher. I mean, right?
No,
Well, they
that's
had
the reason
Nola.
it
I'm
seems like
talking
that
about
they're
yeah, but
supposedly
Noah's
having that
like
much interest is
a
that this guy's a right-handed
4/5. I'm talking
pitcher.
about the
Yeah.
top end right-handed pitcher.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if they do it, I would be surprised, but I think it's like I said, like it'll be Walker. They'll buy out, or they'll do the same
Yeah,
thing
he's
they're going to do with Castellanos for Walker.
yeah.
So he's gone. Painter is another. Really, he's a question mark,
I was about to say, I mean,
right?
I know we've talked about it all year. He's untouchable. He's this, he's that. But like, I mean, have we gotten to the point where maybe he's not? I mean, his year did not prove them how to. His year had to scare him a little bit off to
I
say,
mean,
like,
if they try, if they really want Marte, I think it would be Painter that goes.
right.
But my
That's what I
other
think.
thing with Painter too is even staying next year here, is he a guarantee? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is he a guy that they're only going to want to throw 120 innings? And so they might be, maybe you only want Wheeler and Painter to go 120 innings. Now you need a 6-man rotation, right? So maybe they are in on this guy. I don't know. Did they talk any like what would they would be, what he would want like 5 years, $100 million?
The comps I've seen be similar to what people are projecting Ranger would get. He's a couple years younger. I think he's only 26, but he's unproven, obviously, in the big leagues here. But you're talking right-hander versus left-hander,
Yeah.
which seems to be driving that interest. I mean, you never say never, but I don't. If Painter were to get moved, I mean, everything that you read and Jason, you hear because you sent me some of the podcasts and stuff. I just don't see Marte being the guy that Painter. They if they're going to move Painter, that he's the guy that they do it for. But I don't know. Well, who else would be out there that you could get that you would move him for? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what other outfield piece that we were talking about would be the guy that could be available that would be thrown into that. Yeah,
I doubt
so
that
maybe that is, but I don't know.
I doubt that they would trade Painter. I don't think they're going to trade him. I think it's more of a possibility that they're doing a 6-man rotation like the Dodgers did. I mean, listen, if people want to look at like a blueprint, look what the Dodgers did last year.
I mean, the 6-man rotation also gives you the flexibility of you don't always have the 6-man rotation. You have 5 guys at one time. They go on the DL. They sit for a while.
Correct.
And then then you unleash them all in September.
Yeah.
That's what it gives you.
Mm-hmm.
Or
No,
like a
and
Wheeler doesn't start until August or July, and now he gives you 100 innings at the end of the year into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like just like you said, like the Dodgers did. I mean,
yeah, I mean, I think to what Jason was saying, like when you're talking about Wheeler and Painter, it's not 2 rotation pieces. It's like 1.5, maybe, if you
Right.
figure Wheeler's not going to pitch the whole year, and Painter you might not want pitching the whole year. So that leaves that void for somebody else to come in for however you want to work that. So certainly you're not expecting. I'm not sitting here expecting them to be Wheeler to pitch from May on and Painter to go the whole season if he's up at the start of the year. I think that's not reasonable right now.
Yeah. Oh, we'll see. Interesting stuff. Hopefully we keep saying it. Maybe by next podcast we'll have a little bit more to talk about when it comes to baseball. It's been slow moving.
Might slow down now because the winter meetings are over.
Yeah,
tonight.
no, not much. And if you remember, like the Harpers and all, a lot of those guys, it's like close to spring training, if not at spring training when these
I
guys.
think you'll get JT before Christmas, and then
yeah, that I
All
don't
the
really
other
see
stuff
that
is
as
going to
a.
be in January.
It's really, to me, it's the guys that aren't on your team that you're bringing. They're the moves that even. I mean, Schwarber was big, but we expected it.
Yeah.
JT's gonna be big, but we're expecting it. It's the
Yeah.
other pieces that we don't know about that are gonna, drop, and it'll be something to really talk about. All right, let's move on. We'll discuss baseball off season as more things start to happen. So let's move on. Eagles. All right, I got this. Eagles fall Monday in overtime, 22-19. Wrote it down and read it right. 22-19. Jason had Chargers. Me and
I had
Chalky had the Eagles.
2017, so I was 2 points.
Is that what? Okay.
Yeah.
At one point, I was looking good. I had the Jake Elliott game-winning field goal, and obviously they didn't. But look, I'll turn it over to you guys, and we'll see where the conversation goes. I ain't got nothing else to say. I can't. I don't want to just keep saying the same thing over and over and over and over. The number one problem with this team is Jalen Hurts. Some of it is not all his fault. I think A.J. Brown's a problem with all the crap he pulled all year. That, I heard on the radio, when did the Dolphins start to win games? They were terrible. Their coach is about to get fired. They're not a good team, but they're 6-7. And then when Tyreek Hill got hurt, right? And Tyreek Hill, after every game, was bitching about something, talking about this. He gets hurt, and all of a sudden the team starts to win. So all that stuff affects the team. All that nonsense with Brown is affecting the team. But it's Hurts is the problem. The offense is run a particular way because of Hurts. He can't do certain things. I think Nick Sirianni was involved this week in the offense, meaning he went into these meetings, which there was reports, and it wasn't like this play, we're doing this. It's let's open it up. Let's be more aggressive. And I don't think it was like we're going to prove to everybody that Hurts stinks, but basically we ain't taking a fall for this guy anymore. We're going to open our offense up, and they did. And Hurts proves he can't throw over the middle. He's inaccurate in certain passes. He makes poor decisions. He doesn't. There was a play, and I got to imagine, I'm watching it, and there was 11 guys. I don't know how many are on the field, 11? There's 18 guys in the box. And I said, there's no way they're going to run the ball to Barkley here because he's going to lose. There's no chance. He's got to check out. Calls the play. They run the ball. Barkley loses 3 yards before he even gets the hand up. Meaning, I saw it. You see that they're coming. You're telling me at this point he doesn't even change. But he's completely broken. He doesn't read anything pre-snap. He can't make plays. He's the number one reason, and it's easy to pick on him this week after he had his worst game of his career. But me and Jason, at least, have been talking about it all year. And this just proves more that he's the problem. I went back and looked at the Super Bowl that everybody says how great Hurts was. He had 11 rushes for 72 yards in that game. He was the leading rusher in that game. He was good because he ran the ball, because that's what he could do. His unwillingness to want to run at all is another reason why he stinks this year. He not only doesn't want to run the ball, he wants no contact whatsoever. I watched him run 20 yards to the sideline without picking up a single yard just to get out of bounds, to not get hit. He gets to the line of scrimmage and drops to the ground without getting hit. He doesn't want to run. He doesn't call runs. Any RPO, he's not going to keep the football. Teams know it, and it's another reason why he stinks. Jason?
All right, I'm going to start with the defense. The defense was great without Carter, which was a surprise to me. Jordan Davis, I'm one of his biggest critics. He played really good. He's a better player than I thought. He's playing well. Herbert was under siege the whole night. The whole night. That poor guy. I mean, I know
His
he's
pressure
not
rate was
perfect.
his pressure rate was like,
Oh, it was
I think-
75% or something
well,
like
it was like a top 4 in the last 10 years.
It was literally,
game.
it was
Yeah.
over 70%.
Obviously, the other team won. This one, they happened to win.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was insane.
He's a tough kid. I mean, the way he was running with a broken hand, and you could tell, his hand was bothering him, and he just was still running. I don't think the Eagles expected that. I don't think anybody expected that. Now he held the ball a little bit
He
longer than
holds
I
the
would
ball way too long. That's his problem.
want. Yeah. But he also that one throw he made was I I was texting somebody, I said, "That's exquisite." That one throw he made where he was across his body and I forget who he hit, but he led the it was
Yeah, I know, but
oh,
Hurts made a couple good throws too. I mean,
no, I
they're
know, but I'm
quarterbacks.
saying
They should be making good.
his arm talent is he's got unbelievable arm talent. Like
He
I like
doesn't read defenses all that well, and he holds the ball too long. That's why he's not
he held the
successful.
ball too long on a couple of plays for sure. Um, I also have to say, the Chargers might have the worst skill position players I mean, who has skill on that in their skill like, who? I mean, they have no that guy's got nothing to throw to. I mean, you put him put the Eagles skill set on the Chargers, and let's see what Herbert could do with them. But anyway, let's get to to the offense, right? Like you said, Tom, Jalen Hurts is everything that we've said for years. He should really have 5 interceptions. I mean, I know that was a tough play but I mean, that easily could have been 5 interception game. I don't call 5 turnovers because that one play, I mean, I know he fumbled, but
I got the ball back though. It was a change of
I
possession. I
know, but
mean,
I don't know. I mean, I just, it is what it is. I mean, it's 5 turnovers, but I look at it more as 4. But anyway, should have 5 interceptions. Um, the last one, I heard people trying to defend them, and you don't throw that ball on first down. Like, if that's fourth down, obviously fine. Even third down, I'll give them because maybe, you don't want to settle for a field goal and for a tie. You're going to try to win. You do not throw that ball on first down. It was an RPO. Clearly, it was Khalil Mack that he should have read that Mack was not, going to the middle. So he should have handed the ball off and got 5 yards of Barkley there. He didn't. He also on the play, even after he made the mistake of not handing it off, he should have dumped it to Goddard. He didn't do that. He tried a low percentage pass on first down, and he deserved to get picked off. So that was a disaster. Never. I mean, how many times did they show without us even watching film or anything? Did Aikman say, "Oh, Brown was open for a check down over the middle," and he just don't like? He's got. I don't think. I think his vision. Like, I don't think he sees over the middle or something. Like, I don't. I don't know what he sees. I don't know.
I definitely look like in the production meetings though that the Eagles maybe were told to Aikman like, dude, go after this guy. Like, I mean,
Well,
Aikman after every play
so
was just talking bad about it. It
no.
was
So
crazy.
here's what I think happened in that meeting with Sirianni sitting in or whatever. I think it's kinda like what you said, Tom. I think it was more Hurts because we know there's multiple sources that are saying that Hurts does not want a complicated offense. He wants a rudimentary offense. A 5 play, he does not want a 4 option pass option because he's not gonna look at 3 of them. He doesn't want that. He wants a simple offense. I think Sirianni went in there and said, "Okay, listen, we need to try something new, Jalen. We need to put, these pro passing concepts into the offense now. We can't put a high school passing concept into the offense anymore. It's not working anymore. We need to try this." And you see what happens when they try it. Now, he made a couple of really nice throws during the game. The 3rd and 16 throw, was that overtime when he made that
Mhm.
throw to Devontae Smith over the
Yep.
middle?
Yep.
That was a phenomenal throw and play, and,
But the problem with that is that those plays are there
oh, they're
during
all
the game, and he
correct.
doesn't make them. He made it out of
Does not
desperation, but he
it's
doesn't do
it's
it.
not only Brown, he doesn't see the check down in the middle of the field. It's either Brown or Goddard usually, and he does not take it. He does not take
Yeah,
that
he
check
don't take checkdowns
he
often.
does
That
not
that
take them.
that's part of the problem.
So, they put a pro concept in there, and you see what he did with it. He had 4, probably should have 5 interceptions. I did watch Cosell. Cosell actually it's kind of weird if you guys watch it. In the beginning, he was like, I actually don't think Jalen Hurts played as bad as people think. But then as they go on and show each play, he's killing them on every play. He's like, I don't know what he's seeing there.
Well,
He,
Yeah,
maybe
I
that's more
mean,
a reflection of how bad people are saying. It's like he played bad, but not as bad as, but
yeah.
like he played really well.
Also too,
yeah.
like I mean, AJ Brown dropped the first play of the game that should have
See,
been a
I,
reception.
the last one though, the defensive back made the play in the end zone. Like he hit his arm down. Like I don't.
The guy could bench press 400. Like
I
the
know, but
receiver,
that's still
there-
like you're going for a pass, and if he's hitting it, I don't
that
kill him for
happens
that
every play. That's a drop.
I don't know. I
It's
don't kill him for that
the
touchdown.
guy's making $100 million. He's a wide receiver.
I just think the D-back made a play. He did drop a couple balls. There's
And
no
the one
doubt.
interception should have. It wasn't the greatest pass, but it should have been called.
That's like both of their fault. Like
That was a
you know,
business decision. He was preparing to get hit.
but it also wasn't a great throw.
No,
But
Yeah, I was
should've-
high.
You should have caught it.
But again,
But it
I
wasn't a
mean,
great throw.
he's a top receiver in the league.
Yeah,
Like
he should have caught
you
it.
know.
But it also was not thrown where it should be thrown. So, I mean, that's my thought. I mean, listen, everybody wants different play calls and this and that and this. Well, you got them this game. You got a pro passing concept, and you see what he does with it. He can't. You put that other kid in with a pro passing concept with these skill players and all, and you'll see what will happen. I hope this kid gets into a game. I hope it does, but I don't know.
They did it last year for 4 games. Kellen Moore tried to run his offense for 4 games, and he had a ton of turnovers.
Yeah.
And they took the bye, and they went to a strictly run
Yep.
offense. Throw all, every pass came off the run, and they were able to run, and they were successful. So like, he doesn't even show a track record of successfully being able to play the position at
No.
a high level if everything isn't absolutely perfect. Which goes to my point last week, which I can get 22 other quarterbacks to do that.
I totally
That-
agree with what you said last week, where you said, and I said it to, I think it was Chris Roselli, I was texting with her or something. I was like, there are 20 quarterbacks in the league that could have won that Super Bowl last year. There's 20
Yeah, it does the
quarterbacks
exact same
that could
thing.
have done that in the league.
Right. All right, Chalk. Yeah, sorry to put you on the spot here because you're the only semi-Jalen defender. So I don't know if after a game like that, it's gonna be tough, and I don't know what route you're gonna take. But as the only one that has a shot to defend them, I'll turn it over to you.
Unlike you, who said you have nothing to say and then you went on for a while, I'll try to keep it short. But it was his
Once
worst,
I get talking Jalen, I can't stop.
I mean, yeah, it's a minor miracle that they were in overtime with a chance to win the game with 4 turnovers
that was the defense. Yeah,
at that point. The defense kept them in it, and the offense made enough plays where, I mean, obviously, like Jason was saying, Sirianni got more involved, and some of the route concepts and route were more like last year, where they were different now, and that obviously leads to more chances, I guess, for turnovers, and we saw that the way there was getting thrown. But Barkley had that big run. He had a couple other runs. It looked somewhat kind of like last year's offense for moments there, but they weren't. They had 3 was the end of the game, the 3rd red zone turnover. Well, I guess it's 3 if you count the fumble. Going back 50 years, nobody's had 2 turnovers on the same play, and so that's historic. I guess,
They weren't in the red zone though.
they were close. They were in field goal range.
Pretty
at least.
close.
They
It
were
was
within
like
the
the 30
30
or
or
so-
something.
yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I don't think technically in the red zone, but they were.
But I
Yeah.
forget whether the Brown entered. But that was like 3 points off the board, and then 1 of the interceptions gave 3 points basically to the Chargers, and the defense kept them in the game. The offense, because of that, still had it. Hurts. Threw that ball that. I agree. I put that more on Brown. I mean, he threw it right where it had to be, and Brown's got to muscle through that. The D-back made a great play. I'm not taking anything away from that, but that's a catch. If you're going to come out and talk like the way he talks, like Brown's got to make that catch because he's strong. He's got to be getting ready for that. Look, you got so many issues. You got guys banged up, and then you see this, like it's bad. I mean, that was as frustrating. to me, that was more frustrating a game than some of the other ones where, because you saw like glimmers of like, okay, here's a play, here's a play there. And then it was like, you just can't do it consistently right now for whatever reason. And some of the interceptions were as bad of an interception as I've ever
The
seen 'em.
one
I mean,
interception,
the
a
one was like, he
500
didn't even see
pound
the
defense,
guy standing there in
a
the middle of the field.
500-pound defensive lineman dropped back in coverage and stood in the
Coach
middle
Shell
of the
Yeah.
showed
field.
that play.
And
Like,
he threw
So
right
like that
to him.
was like,
if you
I don't
guys
know what that was.
did
People will
you
try to
guys
defend
watch
the
Coach
last play
Shell?
of the game, saying that the guy was open and the D-back made a good play on it, but it's still not a throw you should be making in that case. I agree with
He
that.
also stared right at Dotson the whole time and threw
I
off his
mean,
back
so
foot. I mean,
there was enough, he made a couple good throws. The Smith throw was one of the better ones he's probably ever made in his career, and there's one or two other ones. But I mean, look, that's why they say like, well, if he doesn't turn the ball over, they'll win, because if they don't turn it over 5 times, they win that game somehow, I'm sure. But that's why I guess they try to play conservative times. I'll say this: if the defense plays that well, if they can get anything straight, they'll have a chance against anybody except for maybe the Rams, who just score a lot of points and there's no way they could keep track with them. I mean, Nakobe Dean looks like Lawrence Taylor on some of these. He's in the backfield every other play. He's not making the
he's
tackle.
one of the
He
best
missed that one,
blitzing
but
linebackers I
he
think
just
I've seen in the
he
last
finds a
20
way in the
years.
backfield like unlike any Eagles linebacker I've seen in forever. It seems like, since maybe like Seth Joyner or Trotter at times, but the defense played well, but the defense again couldn't hold them off the hold them down long enough, and a couple of the turnovers just made it shorter drives. I mean, they had that long drive at the start of the game, and then after that, they didn't get in the end zone for the rest of the game. So I'll stop there. I mean, it's just, we're going to beat a dead horse, but what, I don't know what you can really take away from that game other than they're not a very good team right now, and they're in the midst of a lot of mediocre teams in the league, and there's probably only a handful of teams you would think they would definitely beat right now, and they got one of them coming in this week, and you hope, if you're a fan, they can get it done.
There's one play, again, I know, this is a kill Jalen Hurts podcast, but even the one play he made where, he scrambled out of the pocket and made the throw to Dotson. If you watch Coach Shell, there's a guy wide open before
Yeah,
he
that's the
even
problem.
runs out
Yeah.
of the pocket. Like that, he's just not a good quarterback. I'm sorry. He's not a good quarterback. Not good. Bottom line.
Yeah, I don't. He's not.
I mean, the last thing I'll say, because Jason, you mentioned McKee, like, I don't see them going to. If anything,
not
I
gonna
think
go
they
to-
let.
Nah.
He's got to get hurt. That's the only
No,
way
yeah,
they're
they'll
going.
let this
Yeah,
they'll let this
good.
season run out and let him look bad, and then
Yeah, they're
go
not
from
gonna
there.
pull him.
Then try to save it with McKee.
He would have to
No.
get hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's to the point where he needs to get extended probably at the
Oh, that's done.
Well, that's, yeah. I mean, you're not looking to do
there's
that.
zero chance that
Zero.
could possibly happen.
Done. That's done.
One last thing, because I wasn't on the week you guys were talking about the quarterback play. Your 2 big primetime games this weekend, 4 quarterbacks that are supposedly, among the best in the league. Jalen Hurts was the only one who had a completion percentage above 50%. And we're talking about how bad his game was. So Mahomes, Stroud, Herbert, and Hurts was barely over 50%. All had less than 50% completion percentages. So
Yeah, but
there was a lot of bad quarterback play going on right now in the league, which you guys talked about a couple weeks ago.
Legitimate quarterbacks, and Jalen Hurts isn't.
No,
They're
I'm not
all-
saying he's as bad. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying
Yeah.
like, the other
Yeah.
guys turn in bad. Allen got like
Yeah.
these even the best of the quarterbacks are turning in some really bad
different-
performances.
They don't all play well. They get picked up by their team. all
Jaworski-
that.
Yeah, I feel like that even the best quarterbacks are playing worse at times
Listen,
than we've seen in a
Well, the
very long
defenses
time.
are starting to figure out some of the.
Ron Jaworski said this, and it's legitimate if you think about it. He said, I don't care how good of a player you are, how good of a quarterback you are. He said, you have 2 bad games a year. Look at every quarterback. He said, you're just going to have 2 bad games a year. Now, we've seen it, like you said, Mahomes and, Purdy had 3 interceptions in the first half a couple of weeks ago. everybody's going to have a bad game. It's just it's a hard position to play. I just don't. The quarterback the Eagles have is just not a good quarterback. He's just not a good quarterback. I don't care if he had a bad game and he didn't have as bad a game as everybody else. He's just
No,
not a good quarterback.
my comment isn't comparing Hurts to anybody else other than we're constantly seeing bad quarterback
Yeah.
play in these
They
primetime
have bad
marquee
games.
games week after
Yeah,
week
and I
now.
do think defenses are starting to figure out a few things, and they're playing a lot of defenses playing where everything's underneath, all that. But at a certain point, like you could just throw out stats, throw out win percent, like just sit down and watch Hurts play, and then obviously Mahomes, like you could pick the better guys, but even like you can see with your eyes like
And that's
I
not
don't
even
care
watching
what any
film.
numbers.
That's not even watching the film. Imagine watching
No.
film.
Like-
Imagine what Petullo thinks to himself when they're egging his house and they're chanting that he needs to be fired and doing all this shit. And he's got to sit there and watch the film. Imagine. And Sirianni. Imagine what these guys think. They know.
Again, it's all these guys that had success. Petula didn't call plays, and I don't look Petula because there's more than just calling plays as offense coordinator. There's the preparation during the week. They lead the meetings, like all that stuff. And I have no idea how he is. Maybe he's not great at that. It don't look like he's like the next coming of Sean McVay, obviously. But to Jason's, like they're playing with the guy like. I don't like it's putting and he's not a real he's not a real quarterback.
He's not.
Go through his career again.
And I
everybody wants to
apologize for
regret-
even bringing up the fact that the quarterback play has been bad because I didn't want to get
No,
back
no,
onto the
but
Hurts
like,
thing. But
people give him credit for turning his career. He got benched in a national championship game because he stunk at Alabama, and then the backup quarterback came and won the game. He goes to Oklahoma. He's like, even that was a Lincoln Riley offense at the time. They had to run a completely different offense than Lincoln Riley ran with Mayfield and guys that came before him. He then comes to the Eagle, and obviously we know the story. Like you can use that story, but also you can look at this story and say he's been unsuccessful at levels that he's getting benched, and it's like again the winning percentage. Obviously, the Super Bowl that thing skews everybody's opinion on him. And I can't defend that. I can't tell you why he won a Super Bowl. I can't tell you why he has a good winning percentage.
Imagine how good that Eagles team was that they
But that's
won
the other thing.
with this guy.
That would be even better with somebody with
Oh
a
my
real
God.
quarterback.
There would have been a juggernaut last year.
So, all right. With that being said, we do have an Eagles game. Eagles are home against Vegas, the Las Vegas Raiders. Line is 11.5. Over under is a whopping 38.5. There's only one team who has scored less touchdowns than the Eagles in the last 5 weeks. The Las Vegas Raiders. They are bad. They are bad. Is Geno Smith even playing?
No,
Or is
Pickett.
it Kenny Pickett?
But
That's
he's-
a tough.
He is better than I think he's better than Geno Smith, but it's not much.
He's bad too.
He's bad.
All right, Chase, you want to give a crack at this one?
I mean, listen, if you're the Eagles, you couldn't have a better team come in. I mean, come in and play right now. Like they desperately need to win. They desperately need to blow a team out. The Raiders don't belong in the league. They should be in the USFL or whatever. I don't even know what other leagues there are anymore, but they're not a professional team. I still don't have confidence in the Eagles blowing them out. I just don't. I don't. The first 3 and out next week, the fans are going to be, they're drunk as it is, so they're going to be chanting for Petullo, and so it's going to be a hostile crowd. The Eagles probably will be better off playing in Las Vegas, but I still think they're going to win. I mean, the Raiders are just god awful, but I don't know if they cover. I'll say 23-13 and not cover. I don't know. I mean, Johnson might be back. I mean, there is that crazy stat where, like, what is their percentage when Johnson doesn't play?
Yeah, I don't buy it. I mean, it is what it is, but like they didn't lose They
No,
didn't lose Monday because Lane Johnson didn't play.
I
They
agree.
didn't lose against Dallas because Lane Johnson didn't. Like
I
that.
agree.
It's circumstance, but
I agree.
it is the stat. Um, I don't know. I'm kind of where you are, Jason. I like. I don't get. I know like Vegas has it, but like I don't think it's a given they're winning this division. Like they easily
Oh,
can
no.
lose 2 out of 4 games, and Dallas goes 4-0 or 3 out of 4. They happen to have an easy schedule. I mean, 3 of the 4 games are against bad teams, obviously. Um, and this is probably the game they need to get right, to hopefully get right. But in 2023, I think they played the Cardinals, and they were a big favorite. And we were on this podcast. I know I was for sure saying they ain't losing this, and they lost. They played a couple bad teams in that stretch, and they still lost games. The Giants, I think, late. Um, but Vegas is like there's bad teams, and then there's Vegas right now. Um, the only way I think the game is close, and right now it's Wednesday, so it's tough. And it's like Vegas Insider had money on Vegas, which kind of skews me towards the Eagles, obviously, and the whole world's against them right now. Is if the defense decides to maybe they're kind of like they did it against whatever the game was prior, like they're kind of fed up and they don't give you the effort that they gave you against the Chargers coming off the Monday game. So maybe they let up more points than you think they should, and that's what makes it relatively close. I still have confidence that it won't. So I have a 24-10, so I do have them covering. I have it staying unders. I mean, I don't know. I don't feel great about it, but I can even see like the defense getting turnovers that lead like either touchdown or in the red zone, something that gives the offense very short fields. And so that's why I have a 24-10, but I can't tell you I'm confident. Chalky.
Well, I can tell you what the final score won't be, and that's 24-10 because that was my prediction as well. If nothing else but the strength of the defense, perhaps. Look, I mean, I will say, the only other team you might want to have come in here, I guess, is the Jets, because I think they're down to quarterbacks too at this point.
Is Tyrod Taylor not playing?
I know he didn't come back in last week after the first drive, which sunk any chances I had of hitting that bet if I had any.
So Geno Smith got hurt, then Tyrod Taylor got hurt, then Kenny Pickett came in. Is that?
No, just a different. No, they're not on the same team.
Tyrod Taylor.
Oh, I wasn't listening. I'm sorry.
No, because
okay.
because Fields and I think Taylor are
Jet-
hurt for the
yeah,
Jets, so I don't know
yeah.
who their quarterback is. I know it's not Phillip Rivers.
I don't know his name.
But look, I mean, the thing I'll say about the defense is, as much as we were against the Bears week after week, Williams has a little bit of talent, and they were finding ways to win, and their offensive line is half decent. And it was a short week for the Eagles defense. I think if they put in that kind of performance against this team, if you have any kind of personal pride, that's going to be a tremendous embarrassment the way this Raiders team is playing. So I think, for nothing else, it's just the talent wins the day, and they won't want to be supremely embarrassed on the defensive side of the ball. So I'll say 24-10. And if it's anything less than that, then we'll have less to talk about next week.
Look, if they lose this game, I think we breeze through the Eagles games for the rest of the year, like we do Sixers games and Flyers games. Honestly, like it's not even worth it. I mean,
I just think even if they win, they might lose in the first round. I mean,
the only thing I'll say is like the league's not very good right now.
No, but I mean,
it really
listen,
isn't.
Look, let's look at the playoff teams, right? You're gonna have a good team that's not gonna win the NFC West, that's not gonna win the NFC North.
You have an okay
gonna
team.
Come in here.
If it's the Bears, they're not a good team, and they beat us already. But
It could be San Francisco. It could be
San
You're gonna have
Seattle.
you're gonna have an okay team. I mean, Seattle hasn't beat a team with a winning record, pretty much.
Yeah,
I'm
not
okay.
going to believe in Sam Darnold until he actually wins a meaningful game.
Yeah, I think he's a weak point, but I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't be confident that they're winning.
They talked about it.
No.
Talked about
I'm
a little
not
bit
confident.
on the broadcast Monday night. Like, your bottom of your 5, 6, 7 seed this year in the NFC is much better or much closer to the top, except for maybe LA, than they have been traditionally. And you look at the AFC side, and it's like, there's like I mean, even the teams at the top, people have questions because these are young kids that haven't done this over
I'm
and
glad
over.
you mentioned AFC because I do have a future bet. I think the Houston Texans are going to win the AFC. I
So
think that
go by
defense.
Their defense is
DVOA.
rolling.
Go by DVOA. The easiest schedule so far this year by DVOA, like team opponents, is the Patriots. Patriots played the easiest schedule.
Yeah.
Second easiest is the Denver Broncos, of course.
Yeah.
Then like fourth easiest was Chicago Bears, DVOA.
Yeah.
The third hardest schedule, and the first two were like, I think the Giants and the Jet, like teams that are terrible, were to Houston, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
By like then the fourth team was a gap, like
Yeah.
a half, 50%, meaning they've played in a very difficult, very,
Yeah.
very difficult schedule with a great defense, and their offense does not look as bad as it has. It's
No.
starting to come around.
Now I have them at
The
9
fact
to
that they're in
1.
playoff contention while starting Davis Mills for multiple games is ridiculous.
Right. So I had them at 9 to 1. They're still almost 6 to 1. If you guys want to, anybody wants to bet it. But like you said, Tom, that defense, they could go into any stadium in the AFC and win with that defense. And Stroud's good enough. I think he's good enough. I think he's okay. He's good enough to win. You have Nico Collins. He's a good receiver. I think who's their back? Is it Chubb? Who's their back?
He is the backup at this
Mixon?
point.
Is
Well,
Mi- is he
Mixon's
hurt?
he's not coming
Hurt.
back this year.
He's
Doesn't
hurt.
sound
No,
like,
they
so.
got
Backs don't matter. I mean, listen, they got a great
Bush,
defense.
not Bush. It's like a guy like that. It's like a young
Okay. Yeah,
forget.
it's backs are really irrelevant.
Is it Marks? I think it's Marks.
They got a Super Bowl defense. I think Stroud's good enough, and I think they're going to be. I think they could go into any AFC stadium and win. So
Yeah, it's funny because I actually had that in my notes, and I probably would have forgot to say it, but I was going to say I like
yeah, your team
that
too.
was my sleeper pick to come out of AFC because I looked at the strength of schedule stuff and all that.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Okay. With that said, let's move to picks. Jason, take over.
All right, we'll do some stats. So over under last week, of course, because I decided to bet it under, was 11 over and 3 unders last week. So, even with bad weather, the only bad weather that hurts overs is wind. Snow and rain does not hurt overs because that you can't get traction when you're on defense, rushing the pass or anything. So
Yeah, it's short turnovers, short fields,
turnovers,
also.
like a bunch of stuff. So it's now 106 over and 102 under on the year. The public again had a losing week. They're 6-8. They're now 92 and 115. Tom, we finally got back on track with our same picks.
Yeah.
We're now 31 and 22. When we have the same pick, 58%. Best bet, same best bet. We're 13 and 7, 65%. So podcast had a good week. We're 5 and 4. Tommy and I both went 2 and 1. So we'll start with Tommy. You had so you and I mean, we could do us together, I guess. Our first 2 picks were the same. So we both had the Packers as our best bet, which I guess we barely got that one through. And Chalky had that one too, actually, as his best bet. So we could do the whole top line. That was a big podcast pick.
Yeah,
So,
needed that.
yeah.
Needed that.
Then you and I, Tom, both had the Vikings, which was a really good pick. I mean, they just blew Washington out of the water there. You had the Cardinals as your third pick. It was never
Man.
close. It was never cllose.
That was
Mike-
10-10 at some point, like the second quarter.
It was 0-0 to start the game. It wasn't.
No,
That
it
was
was
the
10-10.
closest
Right.
we got.
0-0. 1 point it was
After that.
0-0. So you went 2 and 1. I went 2 and 1 also. Same top 2 picks. My Steelers Ravens under had no chance. I start getting, you kick a field goal and then the leverage bullshit and everything. I knew I wasn't, gives them the first down, and then I once that stuff starts happening, you're not getting under. So
Yeah, our overs and unders once you're watching and red zone, like
Wouldn't
a red
happen.
zone gets held to a field goal. You're feeling red zone, like stuff. That's you could got a good gauge of that.
And Rodgers played like it was 10 years ago. Like I don't know where that game came from Aaron Rodgers, but he looked like he was 10 years younger. I went 2 and 1. Chalky, you went 1 and 2. but you did hit your best bet with the Packers. You had the Chiefs, who they're in trouble. They did not look good. And then you mentioned you had the Jets. The Rally Monkey came back to earth. He went 0-3. He had the Broncos, which he kind of got screwed on that, but
Oh, kind of. That was insane.
yeah. But listen, I mean, you know what they're trying to do. If you get time on the clock and you get the onside kick,
No, but it
away.
wasn't even. It was. You know how they got time on the clock was because of delay of game
Oh, the
too.
penalty. No, yeah, they dumped
Yeah,
that on him. Yeah. It was.
with crazy.
I would be mad if I had the Broncos. The Bucks, not good. And then the Jets. So chalky. Once you and the Rally Monkey had that same pick, not good.
Wait till you hear him this week.
Uh-oh. So let's do best bets on the year. So I'm now 7. Well, we'll start with Tommy. He's 10-4. Profit of $519. 71% win. 37% ROI. I'm 7-7. Loss of $55. 50% win. Minus 4% ROI. Chalky, you're now 4-10. Loss of $632. 29% win. Minus 45% ROI. Jimmy D's 1-0. The Rally Monkey's now 3-11. Overall, over the 3.5 years, Tommy is 37-26 with best bets, 59%. I'm 36-29, best bet, 55%. Chalky, you're 30-37, 45%. Meeker, oh my God, I forgot to write Meeker's down. I'll have to look at. I mean, it didn't change.
I think it's better than Chalky's though.
Meeker's 23-28, 45%. So technically they're tied for best bet. And then for the year, Tommy is 24-18, $401 profit, 57% win, 10% ROI. I'm 21-20 and 1. Loss of $59, 51% win, minus 1% ROI. Chalky, you're 20-22. Loss of $354, 48% win, minus 8% ROI. Jimmy D is 2-1, $86 profit. The Rally Monkey is 16-25. And the total pod without the Rally Monkey is 67-61, $75 profit, $74 profit, 52% win, 0.6% ROI. Then overall, over the 3.5 years for our picks, I'm 111-88, profit of $1,296, 56% win, 7% ROI. Tommy, you're 98-92, loss of $56, 52% win, minus 0.4% ROI. Chalky, you're 100-101, loss of $911, 49.6% win, minus 5% ROI. Meeker is 72-81, loss of $1,598, 47% win, minus 10% ROI. And overall, as a pod, we are positive. We're 309-281, $328 profit, 52% win, 0.6% ROI.
Okay. Well, let's try to improve it this week. See what we're gonna have go first here. So, and we all live in the same area. I'm Delaware, Chalky's Pennsylvania, Jason's Jersey. So we might have to get out a tape measure, but we're gonna do whoever is closest to Las Vegas right now, because that's who the Eagles play.
That's good.
So Chalky, you want to measure where are you at right now? Which state you're in? Pennsylvania. That's where you live, right? Which state are you in?
It's a legal gambling state. We'll leave it at that.
So is it someone out west?
I hate to disappoint and upset because this might be somebody else's picks. But my best bet this week is going to be the Buffalo Bills minus 1.5, minus 102 against the
Not my best bet, but
New England Patriots,
Mine.
as mentioned, with their poor DVOA. My second bet is going to be another team that was mentioned. That's Green Bay minus 2.5, minus 110 against the shrieking Denver Broncos. They're road favorites, so that's minus 110 on that. And my third pick is going to be the Rams minus 5.5, minus 112 against the Detroit Lions.
all right.
The
Go,
Rally
Monkey.
Monkey, his best bet is Green Bay. Minus 2.5, minus 100, 110, excuse me. against the Broncos. His second is Dallas -5.5, -110 against the Vikings. And his third is also the Rams -5.5, -112 against the Lions.
Chalky, you might be in trouble.
All right, so my best bet is Kansas City -4.5, -115 against the Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers coming off that short week, obviously playing the Eagles on Monday. Look, the way that offense, like Herbert doesn't look like he's going to be better this week with that hand. Like, I don't see them putting up a lot of points again.
I don't know if I'm getting a different line because I'm not in Pennsylvania, but I got that at 5.5 -108.
It was 4.5 -115, literally right before he signed on.
Let me
But
try.
it could have changed. Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
guess.
Yeah, if Jason wants to check, I have at 5.5 108.
I'm gonna look right now.
Yeah, so double check it, but I mean, it could have changed obviously because the vig changed, so it easily could have. But I'll continue if Jason.
I got
got
it
or
right now
we-
through it because that's the late game, right? It's
Yeah.
no wait, which
It's an
game
early
is this?
game.
The Chiefs, right?
Oh yeah, no, Dallas is late too.
It's 5.5 108.
So it changed. Yeah, so it's 4.5 115 at 6 o'clock. But that's fine. I mean, 4.5, 5.5 is the same line. Makes no difference. Then my second pick is Buffalo -1.5, -102 is what I had against New England, as Chalky mentioned. And then my last pick, who is a team I'm going to go back to the well, is Arizona +9.5, -108 against Houston. Houston's coming off that big win against Kansas City. I do think they win the game, but I do think 9.5 points is a lot of points. And Arizona can hang close enough to hang on and cover that spread. Jason?
My best bet is the Bills -1.5, -102. To me, I'm looking at it as if the Patriots already beat them. Bills, I don't think they're getting swept by the Patriots. I don't think the Patriots are winning 10 games in a row. I think the Patriots are somewhat of a fraud. I don't know. I like the Bills a lot.
Yeah, I was getting a haircut this morning too, and one of the I think Get Out was on one of the shows, and the headline was, "How come the Patriots are underdog? Like, why are they not favored against Buffalo?" Meaning, it's a shady line.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. My second pick is the Cardinals +9.5, -108. I actually know I looked at it a little different than you. I thought the line was low because the Cardinals just are terrible, and Houston really looks like they're really good right now. So I thought the line should have been a little higher, and I just think it's a little bit of a letdown game for Houston. And the Cardinals are coming in, and nobody expects them to do anything and all. But I think Houston wins, but maybe they win by a touchdown or something like that.
Yep.
So, then my third pick, I liked a couple of unders this week, but I'm not doing unders. I'll do unders in the VSiN, but I'm not doing unders here. I'm going to take the Ravens -2.5, -105. I think that deceptively, they probably should have won that game last week against the Steelers. They got screwed on the lively to play in the end zone. I think they're pissed off. I think just like the Bills don't want to get swept by the Patriots, the Ravens don't want to get swept by the Bengals. I think the Bengals, I think that was it with them losing last week. They probably had a little bit of hope to make the playoffs, and now they're probably done at this point. So I think the Ravens bounce back and win that game. So
Yeah, Ravens were on my radar. They were kind of one.
yeah, I'll give the
Almost
two
big
unders
game.
out. Nah, obviously, these don't count. But I think that Chiefs-Chargers game, who's scoring in that game? The Chiefs' offense is bad.
Yes.
The Chargers' offense is bad. That's under to me. And then I actually think, I think the Vikings-Cowboys game is going to go under. The Cowboys' defense has been better. The Vikings, they got 31 points last week, but that's the
And
second
that's a Sunday night inflated line too. It's
Sunday
a prime time.
line. And the Vikings' defense is really good. So that's going to be an under that I'm going to use on VSiN, but that was under consideration for my third pick. But I like the Ravens.
All right. Very good. Just under an hour for tonight's episode 185. Broadsheet Hustle will be back next week, covering the same, some baseball maybe, definitely the NFL. We'll see you
Hopefully
next
not
week.
the NFL. So, all right.